We would never tamper, but if Connor Williams wasn't available at 50, is there any chance that pick potentially could have been moved for a player?
Well, we had some guys that we liked that were on our board still, and we would have picked the best football player. But if the opportunity presented itself for us to get more picks, I'm sure that Jerry and Steven would have looked at that.
Is there a need at safety as far as possible free agents this summer?
We feel good about the guys that we have, but we're always looking to add pieces if it'll improve us. But I've got a great deal of confidence in our coaches and Chris Richard and Greg Jackson and Rod Marinelli putting the guys in the right spot based on their physical skill set to have success. If something comes along that can improve us, we're always going to look at it. That's what we're in the business of.
So, before I get started with this video, I just want to let you guys know really quick that me and Cowboys Blog, a.k.a. Joe Rod, have started a podcast. You guys can find it by going to SoundCloud.com and then typing in The Cowboys Huddle or Cowboys Huddle, and the link is in the description box. So make sure you guys do that, listen, share it around, all that good stuff. 5 reasons the Cowboys didn't trade for Earl Thomas, or they didn't draft a safety. All right, guys, so this time last week, we would have been about to pick our 2nd-round pick in the NFL draft. And right now, teams, fans, owners, GMs, anybody who follows football right now is basically analyzing their picks, their players. They're getting more familiar. They're trying to understand, what their team's plan was in the draft. And listening to Will McClay earlier, as you guys heard him, I think Dallas is kind of letting us know their plan. Now, there are more than 5 reasons why the Cowboys didn't trade for Earl Thomas or didn't draft a safety, but I'm just going to give you my main reasons. I'm not saying that, X Woods is better right now. And again, hey, it may not be a good look. Maybe Dallas should have drafted a safety. We won't know until about 3-4 years from now. But I just want to give my thoughts on why I honestly think that the Cowboys are good with what they got. Number 1, you drafted him, develop him. I think one of the misnomers in the NFL is that development stops once you get to the league. Like, it doesn't. You keep growing with these players. You keep, allowing them to get better within the scheme, letting them be in your program. And I'll give you a prime example of that. Let's look at Xavier Woods and let's look at Earl Thomas. So Earl Thomas's rookie year, he had 78 tackles. He had 7 pass defense. I got the notes right here, guys. He had 5 picks, and he was really a really good rookie. Now let's look at X Woods. 41 tackles, 3 pass defense, 1 pick. And now X Woods wasn't quite asked to do what Earl Thomas was asked to do. Earl was more of a roamer type. Even early on, Pete Carroll kind of gave him the wheels to just play that free. If you remember last year, X Woods was kind of in the nickel, but I believe he's the best free. Like, he's a better free than Byron Jones, even though Byron Jones has the measurables and all these things. I think that X Woods is really just a better free. He has a better feel for playing a position. So let's look at a team who actually let their safety develop instead of going out and, getting who was Eric Berry or Earl Thomas. Let's look at a team who drafted a small school guy. And when did they draft Byard? They drafted a small school guy in 2016. And in 2017, he blew up. So, year 1, I'm talking about Titans safety Kevin Byard. Let's look at his year 1 stats. Year 1, 44 tackles, 4 pass defense, 0 picks. Did the Titans panic? Titans didn't panic at all. They let him develop. Now, Middle Tennessee is his school. Didn't go to a big-name school. They just saw the traits. They drafted him. They trusted their process. Now, let's look at year 2. Year 2. Made a huge jump. 62 tackles, 16 pass defense, 8 picks. You mean to tell me that a kid from Middle Tennessee had 8 picks? You know why? Because they let him develop within their system. I'm not saying that X Woods is going to have 8 picks next year. I'm just saying that X Woods can play. Give him a chance. This time last year, everybody was excited about Xavier Woods. I know I was, because even though, some of these undrafted free agents, you see videos floating around, I'm not even sure they're going to make the team. Xavier Woods, everything he was asked to do, he passed the test with flying colors. Preseason, he's jarring the ball loose. Come and play the nickel against Arizona. He's playing good. The pick against Atlanta, he's where he's supposed to be. I just like the player, guys. Sorry. Number 2, if you give up the number 2 pick for Earl Thomas, you wouldn't have Connor Williams. So you mean to tell me that Earl Thomas is worth more than Connor Williams? To me, he's not. And I'll tell you why. Our offensive line needs to get back to elite level. Connor Williams makes your offensive line elite. I like Earl Thomas, but with the age and little things like that, maybe even the salary, you get Connor Williams on the cheap. He's hungry. He's going to be added to a line that's pretty much, come on. I mean, we know how good our offensive line is. So I don't think that, giving up that second-round pick. Now, of course, Dallas thought about it, but did they do it? They didn't do it. And I think that was smart because, to me, this team looks better with Connor Williams, Leighton Vander Esch, and Michael Gallup versus Leighton Vander Esch, Earl Thomas, and, some lesser guard, tackle, whoever, who can't play. I don't think that people really understand how good Connor Williams is and how good he was rated in 2016. If you kick him inside, trust me, with a good offensive line on a good team, he will return to form. I'm not passing that up for a 30-year-old or Earl Thomas. I'm sorry. And I just alluded to it. Earl Thomas is 30. And so I've heard this argument that he'll be Charles Woodson. And even Ed Reed later in his career, he kind of tapered off. But let's think about Charles Woodson. So compare their playing styles. Earl Thomas, while he is great on the back end, even though I was watching that Texans Seattle game today, and Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller double moved Earl Thomas pretty bad. It was the first touchdown of the game. Earl Thomas he has really good coverage ability. But what he's more of a fly around box, throw your body around. I don't know if I want him doing that at 30 years old. You think about Charles Woodson, always was a top athlete. Coverage, started as a corner, transitioned back to playing safety when he was in Green Bay. He's always been a finesse cover guy. He's never been a thumper. Always knew his assignments, always was coverage, always built on his athleticism and speed. So they're two different types of players. I think that Earl Thomas at 30 is going to be much more prone to injury than Charles Woodson at 30. Sorry, guys. One of my biggest points that I wanted to hit is let your secondary grow together. Let these guys grow together. Kayvon Frazier drafted 2016. Jordan Lewis drafted 2017. X Woods 2017. Cheeto Awuzie 2017. When you think about that Seattle Legion of Boom, they were all drafted within a year apart. Maybe 2 years apart. I know Sherman and Chancellor were in the same draft, late round picks. So you really want to let these guys grow together. Why would you want to bring in guys, even a safety, even drafted, you want to keep flipping safeties and flipping free agents, and all they're either going to do is block growth or crowd the room. You already moving Byron around and you gave him a chance. So guys, to me, you drafted these guys, let them grow together. Let this young secondary who we like, who did have warts last year, but I like X Woods, I like Cheeto, I like Kayvon. Listen, I was down on Kayvon until I really watched the film and him being used in the correct position. Like, Chris Richard sees these guys' skill sets, and if they really wanted Earl Thomas, they would have made it happen. They would have made it happen by now. I don't think it needs to happen, guys. That's just me, though. And finally, we trust Will McClay. So trust Will McClay. Listen to what he's saying. They don't want the big-name free agent anymore, guys. I know Earl Thomas came into the locker room. I know that he was talking to Jason Garrett. But if you think about it, it blocks growth. He has made plays throughout his career, but it blocks growth. I think that X Woods can really be something special. And this is me going out on a limb. But trust Will McClay. Trust his front office. Trust your drafting and how you drafted over the years. Finding Anthony Brown in the sixth round, finding Dak Prescott in the fourth round. Finding gems in later rounds. So, I say all that to say, guys, I like what we got here. So, I'm not saying that Earl Thomas is washed up. I'm not saying that Xavier Woods is better than Earl Thomas. But you drafted him, play him. I think that the Cowboys believe in that. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Am I out of pocket? Let me know. And as always, thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It's your boy Foots the King. And remember, go download that podcast, SoundCloud. Me, Joe Rod, Cowboys Huddle. Peace.